around the world. Looking very much forward to being here, navigating markets with you, trading markets this morning. We're going to start off this market morning, of course, with a pre-market intelligence briefing, a live battlefield briefing on what's going on out there. And then we'll move into live trading and live analytics from 9:30 to about 11 a.m. Eastern time. And then we'll move into a bit of a debrief and get going, folks. So give me a good to go in the chats. Let me know that everyone is ready, rearing, and all good to go. I'm excited to be here with you and looking very much forward to getting some great trades off, and of course, managing the market morning as best as possible with this risk-off tone. Now, when we've got this kind of risk-off tone, of course, it does create some trading fodder, and I'm looking forward to having that trading fodder on our side. Let's get going, folks. So everything that I do and say here is for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. I'm not a registered financial advisor or representative. You must consult yours before making any trading decisions. Trading involves risk, not just reward. Risk of loss. Trade with money you can wholly afford to lose. When I trade, it's always in line with my risk trading plan, which is unique to me and might not be suitable to you. Consult your registered financial advisor and get a risk trading plan. When I discuss past trades taken, do live trades in front of you, come up with plans or projections for future potential trades. Whether I'm doing so with respect to a live cash account, demo account, prop trading accounts, all done for education and insight purposes only. It is not meant as advice. And finally, if I pull you in the chat and I give you an average response back to the poll, the sentiment there is not necessarily indicative of the sentiment of the entire group, just those responding. I don't audit the chat, so do take that stuff as anecdotal. All right, folks, I think we are ready to go. I think the best way to get started is to really look at the differential in performance between the major indices. So we're going to start off by doing that. Obviously, we've got a problem in Korea. We've got a problem in semiconductors, in tech in general. Micron down a whole bunch. Its earnings are tomorrow after the bell. Maybe it'll pick things back up, but let's deal with what we're dealing with right now. So that is a market, the primary market, the S&P E-minis, currently down at this moment in time, about 1.5% at this moment. So it is a risk-off tone in the market that is quite dramatic, and it's got pangs of what we saw back on June the 5th. Now, with the S&Ps down 1.5%, what's leading us down? Well, it is the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is down currently just over 3%, about 3.1% at this moment in time, and it's broken below some key support structures. So that key support structure sitting right over there at around 29,820, it was a key volume point of control line going back to the early part of May before we ran up to those highs, came back and retested that launch base right over there. So this area right here is very important. Below 29,820, downside risks remain in place to this little gray zone over here. These are volume profile histograms sticking out from the left-hand side of your screen. This would be around the 29,535 area. If we sustain in price action below 29,820, we are more likely to come down to 29,530 or lower. But the or lower is less likely going to last for a while. It's more likely that we're going to reverse back up fairly quickly from that territory. If we directly come back up above the 29,820 area, take a look at the volume profile histogram on the left-hand side of the screen where it's hollow over here. This is where price can get sucked up into, but typically the areas that are less traded in price, meaning there's less contracts exchanging hands, hence the hollow histogram, they act as inflection areas. We would come up to the area and be pushed down at least 2, if not 3 times before a potential reversal back up. So you've got a good map at this stage. While we remain below 29,820, downside risks are abound down to the 29,000 lower 500s. If we directly come back up above 29,820, the opportunity to come up and have price sucked up into this hollow area, which is sitting in around 30,150 to 30,200. But it's likely going to act as a ceiling. It's unlikely going to be something that we can just directly break right through. So I hope that makes it super super clear on the NASDAQ front. On the S&P E-mini front, we've come well below that volume point of control from the beginning of May. So there's some fairly serious damage done over here, even though it's not the market that's leading to the downside. It's the NASDAQ that's leading to the downside. The number here, as discussed yesterday when I was briefly showing you these charts, 74.72, 74.73, in that area. We can just round it down to 74.70 for ease of conversation. While we're below that area, downside risks down into the bottom of the weekly pivot range, or where this volume profile line exists around the 73.95 area, becomes highly likely. And we're still on path for something like that to happen. If we are able to directly surmount that volume profile, that volume point of control going back to the 1st of May, if we're able to get back above 74.70, it is less likely that we're going to see anything much higher than the 7,500, 74.95-ish area. That would become the area where we would probably get batted back down. So you've got some fairly good clarity in terms of major levels at this stage. And as part of your pre-market brief or intelligence briefing, one of the things that we want to do is understand the major structures. We want to understand the positioning of the market against those major structures, but we also want to understand the things that tug at the market. So currencies, rates, commodities. Okay, intermarket behavior we've largely covered by looking at the ES and the NQ. I haven't covered the Russell. I don't cover the Dow because it's a price-weighted index. The Russell is a kind of in-between in performance between the NASDAQ and the S&P. It's not leading to the downside. So just for posterity, let's put it up on the screen here. So here's the Russell. It's currently down 1.6%, a little bit more than the S&Ps, but quite a bit less than the NASDAQ overall. It is a NASDAQ-driven risk-off morning, and it's a global route in tech in general and semis specifically. And of course, we do have Micron's earnings tomorrow after the bell, which could be an area that, it could be a time when the market mops up some of the blood in the street. Could it happen earlier? Yes, but let's not conjecture. Let's get right into the technical picture now by first looking at the things that are tugging at the market. So one of the things that you can keep in the forefront of your mind is the direction of the US dollar. I kind of look at it by looking at the opposite side of the US dollar, and that means I'm looking at the euro. So I'm going to look at euro futures. So let's go zoom over to euro futures 6E. I'm just looking at a continuous contract here. And when you see me looking up, for those who are new to listening into me, I'm dealing with an array of monitors with charts open everywhere. So I'm looking up and trying to identify where things are at. Okay. So here's the euro. It's currently down. These are daily bars. It's down about 1/3%. That means the dollar is stronger. Now, you can prove that out in general by taking a look at precious metals. Precious metals are lower on the day. They don't do well when the dollar moves up. Usually, the short-term correlations are inverse. So you've got silver currently down about 4.7%. You've got gold currently down about 1.8%. This is corroborating the dollar strength. Okay, now both gold and silver are coming down towards recent lows. They have not busted below those lows. So that's a tell to me. This is one of those golden nuggets that we're still likely going to see more downside in the market this market morning and lower lows than what we've seen for the session so far. But it's unlikely going to become completely unruly. This is not necessarily the beginning of that dirty word that begins with C and ends with H called crash. So the way that I want to kind of move forward over here is just reinforce for you in the pre-market briefing that we're in a marketplace that is risk off, driven by the NASDAQ being sold down, which now should be obvious to you. The S&P E-minis are down at about half the rate of the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is down about 3.1%. The S&P E-minis at this moment in time are down about 1.5%. Okay, so we're seeing it move down about half the rate. It is a risk-off, acutely driven by the NASDAQ-related names and, of course, tech in general. So now what I want to do is take the fact that you've got some insight now on things that tug at the market, like the dollar and the euro. And I want to mention that the euro has come down and has taken out lows that we saw back over here in middle of March. So this can become a scary moment. We are effectively coming back to test lows that we saw back in August of last year. This is still an area where the euro can slow down in its decline and the dollar can stop rising effectively. And precious metals are giving me a little bit of a tell that, hey, it's not gotten unruly just as of yet. It's actually an orderly risk off or downside move. Where does it get unruly from here? Well, if we break below the bottom of the weekly pivot ranges on the ES and the NQ, it becomes a lot more unruly. And the bottom of the weekly pivot range on the NQ is sitting down over here at 29,460. Now, there's some risk of that happening, right? If we stay below 29,820, downside risk to effectively the 29,530s or lower is in play. So let's go and explore this from a technical standpoint now and take a look at it using multiple time frames. So number one, we're going to start off with the daily chart of the NQ, which is going to be the market that I'm trading on the day effectively. And I want to make sure that you're well versed with what the technical signals on screen are telling us. So I'm using my wealth charts here. I've got one chart up right now. It's the NASDAQ. Okay, it's the NASDAQ E-minis. This is a continuous contract, but you can see the U contract is in for the other time frames. The daily chart's where I want to start. I want you to know that the daily chart has not converted over into sell signal state just as of yet. Okay, it is still in a weakened buy signal state. You can see the champion trend buy zone plaque right there. Buy zone plaque right over there. So that is the champion. This is part of the champion trend pack toolkit. These are indicators that champion trader Rob Hoffman has developed over decades. And he's won 37 real money competitions on the backs of all of that kind of work. And these are competition tested tools, competition winning tools. Buy zone plaque sitting right over there from the 15th of June. So you can see that's in play. There's a green opaque zone in the background over there. I've faded it out a little bit, but that's the champion cross indicator. And it's got a dot at the bottom of the main chart. It's missing the dot for today's bar. So we've got a weakened buy signal state. I've also got the triple S indicator on the screen. Look at the subchart. The red line is your focus line. It's gone from the uppermost quadrant into the third quadrant. So from quadrant 4 to quadrant 3. It still has not crossed back into the lower half. So we're dealing with a eroded buy signal on the daily charts. But if we start looking at this with as sober a lens as possible, we look at the 4-hour time frame, it's in a full-on sell signal state with no support features below. And if I fail to mention it, these three lines here that are going from magenta to green, they're called the moving support and resistance channel, also known as the MSR channel. It's a support or resistive structure. And what I really wanted to open the door for conversation on here before we hit the opening bell is the risk on the NQ is to the center of that daily charts MSR channel, which is, effectively slightly below the bottom of the weekly pivot range for the NQ, right? This is the bottom of the weekly pivot range for the NQ at around 29,460. Okay, that's the bottom of the weekly pivot range. And if we take a look at where the center of the daily charts MSR channel is, it's about 70 or so odd points below there. Now we're about to hit the opening bell. So I want to just zoom down and reassure you that, hey, the sell signal state that we're in on a 4-hour chart, on a 1-hour chart remains intact. We've already made lower lows. We're going to go look at this from a 5-minute perspective right now. And my assumption is right out of the gates, we're going to see people want to sell down things, and get out of the way. But the very first bar is not necessarily going to be the story that, I'm going to be, working off of, a narrative I'm going to be working off of. I want to work off of a situation where I know I can reliably take a resumption trade rather than a breakdown or a breakout trade that could go against us. So you can see how this went down. It's reversing back up. It probably will settle lower, but I'm going to let some time pass. We're looking at a NQ 1-minute chart at this moment in time. We've got a sell signal state and an increase of that sell signal strength reasserting itself on the current bar. It's a triple S sell. So we've got that happening. We're below the channel. We're coming down and making lower lows, which is what you heard from me in the pre-market. And of course, what I want to do at this stage is I really want to get into a resumption. I'm looking at a back test of the speed lines, which is the blue and the magenta, or the cyan and the magenta lines, as where I could see the resumption forming. We didn't quite back test it. We've just come down to make lower lows. And I'm sitting here kicking myself going, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Now I'm going to put that to the side and go, can I take an opportunity here? Are we going to continue getting pressured down? It looks like distribution is still there. The ES is moving a little less negatively than the NQ is at this stage. They're both moving in the same direction. But this is what I would be worried about. If we're going to resume selling, I want to come back up, test falling resistance above me, which would be effectively the falling MSR channel. It's those three lines over there, which price is now coming up into the upper half of, and then see if we can fall back down again. I want to see that triple S line, the red line, fall back down below the blue and the white line here and move into the lower half of the channel. If not, we're in a counter trend bounce. And if we're in a counter trend bounce, I don't want to be on the short side of the trade. Can I take a breakout trade? I'd like to take a resumption. We're breaking out above resistive structures right now. I'm not ready to trade that, because if I look at a bigger time frame, I'm rising into falling resistance on that 5-minute chart. So I'm rising into falling resistance on that 5-minute chart of the MSR channel, which is those three green lines. And we're still in a sell signal state. On an hourly time frame, I would be rising into, of course, the speed lines over here, which is, again, falling resistance. So I don't want to get into a situation where I start flipping on the long side trades in a risk off day. I want to resume a short, and I might be getting that opportunity if we come back down below 29,700 at this stage. Coming back down below 29,700 is going to probably be the moment where I could take that trade. Pardon me for just a second here. All right, live TV and all. Sometimes I got to deal with messages, and I just did. Okay, back at it right now. For everyone that's in the chat right now, let me know if the information has been clean and clear for you so far, and is it digestible for you? I'm going to try to take this resumption short below 700, 29,700. So feel free to let me know in the chats. You can let me know with the letter Y or lucky number 7, however you see fit. What I want to make sure is that I'm giving you the information that is useful to help with decision making. And I'm about to try to make a decision below 29,700. I want to take a resumption short effectively. I'm really trading the 5-minute chart, and I want to see it fall back down below the speed lines at this stage. I'm going to use the 1-minute chart as my trigger chart, and I have the hourly chart as the backbone of the signal. The hourly chart tends to project out 3 to 6 hours. 5-minute chart tends to project out 20 to 90 minutes. And my 1-minute chart's my trigger chart. So I'm waiting right now for 29,700-ish, right around here, the bottom of the MSR channel. If that breaks, then I've got a resumption to the downside that I could take advantage of. Otherwise, we're probably in a counter trend bounce, which I'm not really hot to trot to play long in such a risk-off day. I'd rather take shorts on a day like today. So folks in all the chats are giving me some good signals. Information's digestible, which is good. Now the question is, hey, we're not coming down. Are we going to see a counter trend bounce that stays in place for a while? If we come up above the high of the second last close 1-minute bar at around 29,775, have we actually broken any structures that say that we could go higher? We'd have to come up above 29,786 to move into the upper half of the 5-minute MSR channel, and then above 29,830 to clear sell signals. So I don't like that long. I think we can get whacked down too easily, so I'd rather not take it at all. I'd rather stand back and just wait at this stage for a better trading opportunity. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm effectively sitting back, waiting for that better trading opportunity, which may present itself in short order. I'm looking for effectively, 29,707 to be broken, breached, to potentially take the trade. But if we're going to go up, I can try something on the long side at 786, 29,786, but I really am not interested in playing long. I'm looking at a very strong risk-off day where the market's trying to, we're seeing some bottom-feeding buying happening, but I'm not seeing that as strong enough for me to want to latch onto at this stage. So at this stage, I'm going to stand pat. I want to take short side trades. Now, I'm going to ask the room. Okay, so everyone in the chats right now, you let me know. Are you rather going to be interested in shorts? Type the letter S in the chat, or are you rather interested in longs? Type the letter L in the chat and share with me. I'm taking the trade right now. The resumption is on. I want to see if I've got that resumption going cleanly right now. It is in the money. My trade's in the money about 165 bucks. It's out of the money right now. It's not working out just as of yet. I'm going to wait, give it a moment here and see if I can come back down. We should be pressured back down. The resumption level was broken. There was profit in the trade initially, so I'm not walking away from it. There it is again. There it is again. And let's see if we can get a little more out of it. And there it is. So I'm going to take my first profit on my first trade live in front of you from start to finish. It's not falling over right now. So we could see an accelerative move down, and I might not be part of it at this stage. Now, I was quite happy with the initial result, but now can we see more downside risk? The trade is still on for those who want to be in it. We are seeing the triple S line break below the center of the channel, break below its fast momentum and slow momentum line. What I'm worried about right now is the mixed signal state that I've got down to a 1 minute chart. I've got a champion trend buy zone. Okay, that's a problem. I've got a triple S tentative buy. And when I look at the 5 minute chart, I'm in a full on sell signal state that's reasserting itself. Okay, so it's coming on the heels of the first 5 minute bar flipping around. So we're still very early in the market morning, and there is some data coming out at 9:45 a.m. Eastern time today. It's the global market PMIs for the US market. So the S&P global market PMIs. Now, data of that nature, it's not the ISM data. When it comes to purchasing manager index data, that kind of stuff is a lot stronger, a lot more important overall. But it can cause a hurdle or a roadblock. So we have to be mindful of that. So I'm happy that I've been able to come into the trade, take the trade, and all is good with that. Now I want to see if I can get back into a short at this stage. So when I'm looking at a 1 minute chart, I'm looking at my executable chart, right? I'm looking at the trigger, the chart that's going to trigger the existing trading signal on that 5 minute chart. And is that signal on the 5 minute chart robust? Well, I'm below the speed lines, which are the magenta and cyan lines, very close to the price right there. And the fast speed line is the cyan or blue one. It's below magenta. Okay, so that's good. I want to see price below both of them, right? That's the idea. I want to see price below both of them. I want that sell signal to be robust. And then, of course, I want to see that 1 minute chart give me a trigger. I'm not getting that right now. So I traded in the direction of the signals to begin with, was able to execute a profitable trade right there in front of you. However, I'm not seeing it fall over. Are we too oversold? Are we going to be in an oversold bounce from here? That is the question mark. So I'm looking through the chats right now, and I'm seeing some folks willing to go long. I'm waiting, right? I might miss the opportunity for a big surge back up, a counter trend bounce back up. I'm okay with that because the risks are high. Could I try something like that? Well, look, we've hit highs at 932, at 935 from the cash hour start, that is highs. And we're trying to come up at them again. Now, I'm not going to fault someone, nor should I ever, wag a finger, because it can be wagged right back at me and more pointing back in any case. But this is a risky proposition. It can work. We're now coming up above, 29,780. The center of the MSR channel on the 5 minute chart opens the door for a rise up to the top, which is 807. It'll be a quick trade, but it's working for those who are trying to take it. Now, I'm not willing to take that one just as of yet, but we are building a pattern, right? So we can't deny that. It is a risk-off day. It's a downtrend day. The hourly chart is very clear that, hey, things are still going to get weaker from where we are right now. We're below the speed lines. I've got the double red dots in place. The champion cross indicator is in a sell. The champion trend indicator is in a sell. Triple S is in a sell. And the last closed 1 hour bar had this dash above it, which is called a breakout forecaster, which means we can have bigger moves in less bars. So I'd much rather not be putting myself in the spot of, I think the whole thing's going to turn up and just get whack-a-mole back down. There's very likely another round down. It's just a matter of time, from a signal perspective. So, hey, look at that. That move was pretty good. It got us into the upper half. It's trying again. It can take us up to the top, which is about 806. It's almost there. For those who went long, kudos to you on being able to manage that risk. Amazing. Be very careful with the trade. If we break above the top of the MSR channel here at 29,806, we're headed up to 29,830. it's above there that I could start to realistically consider taking on long side trades. The 5-minute chart at the end of the day is the chart that I'm day trading. The 1-minute chart's my trigger chart. The 1-hour chart sets the trend. It's the direction that we're going, which is still clearly down. So if I'm going to trade a buy signal state or a evacuation of the sell signal state that we're in on a 5-minute chart, I'm still doing it against the grain of the hourly chart. Now, nothing says we can't counter trend bounce back up, right? Remember when I did the work in front of you earlier in the session, I said, hey, look, if we are able to, on the NQ, get back up above 29,820, we're able to get back up above there directly without making, a move that takes us down into the 29,000 low 500s or mid 400s. Okay, if we can get back up above that volume point of control line, we could see price get sucked all the way up to 30,100, 30,200 in that area. That is a potential real outcome. Now, I don't think it's the one that we're going to be in, but I want to trade what I see, what I think can help me with a plan. So the plan right now is I'm going to stand pat on looking for shorts. I'm not looking for longs just yet. I'm just looking for shorts. And I want to make sure that I take the short at the right price level. So I'm going to go back to my 5-minute chart now, which is my chart that I'm trading. I know my hourly chart's aligned in signal state. If I come back down below the speed lines, 29,740, 735, which we're not that far away from, I am back into a much stronger sell signal state on that 5-minute chart. So I need to see something below 29,740 effectively on that 5-minute chart. That loses all support structure, or we get above 29,830. And you've already heard me just describe to you, if we get above 820, 830, we're probably in a rise that can sustain for a little while. And I might have to jump on some long side trades as much as they may taste bitter. So here's your 1-minute chart now. We know that the line that I need to see to short below is 29,740. The line that I'm looking at as long above, which I probably will not take the initial long on, but it would be above 29,830. So I can look at the 1-minute chart and make those decisions off of it. With respect to the ES, I'm going to bring the ES up here for you in just a second. We're at 74.43 on the ES at this stage. The ES is converting over into a buy signal state. I think that the next long that could become one that, is part of this counter trend bounce would have to be above 74.50 at this stage on the ES specifically. Now, on both accounts, the hourly charts are in, pervasive, strong sell signal states. It's the counter trend bounce that's happening right now that, of course, one might look at and go, okay, I want to get me some of that. I want to get me some of this long side move. I'm not willing to take that move at this stage, though. Now, for those that are listening in right now, I just want to do a quick AV check because I'm getting a couple of notes from folks that, hey, I'm not seeing the chart. Okay. Is the AV all good? That means video, camera, sound. Is it all good for you? Let me know with the letter Y in the chat or a yes. So I'm getting lots of responses back in saying yes. I just want to make sure that I'm seeing that across the board over here. For the folks who have a moment in all of your respective chats, please do let me know. I would appreciate that. Thank you kindly. Let's move into the next order of business over here, which is back to focus. Okay, 5-minute chart. We come down below 29,737, which we just did. I can take a short again. I'm going to wait for the 1-minute chart to break below the bottom of its MSR channel because it's there. And then I'm going to try to take on a short. I'll take the short on below 29,720, 715 if it presents. If it doesn't present, it's going to be harder to avoid the idea of taking on a long. But we know that around 29,820, 830, things can change materially. The counter trend bounce can get a lot stronger. And if that's the case, hey, I might decide to participate in a little bit of that type of a move. I don't want to get caught in this chop, though. So I'm waiting right now. With respect to the ES, I'm still standing by 74.50, 51 in that area before any consideration for long. And for short on the ES, I like it below 74.36 to 74.34. The ES is actually trying to pick up some of the slack from the NASDAQ at this stage. So it's trying to actually act as a ballast. It's not doing an incredibly good job at it, though. So right now I'm going to stick with the NASDAQ chart, and we'll continue on here. Now, let's see if we get a move that takes me below 77.16. We're getting closer and closer to it. Fingers on the trigger, button is depressed. I haven't unclenched it. I'm waiting for the breach of the bottom of that MSR channel. I'm in a sell signal state on a 4-hour chart, on a 1-hour chart, on a 5-minute chart. The 1-minute chart is mixed, but if it loses support, I'm effectively taking a resumption short, off of the bigger time frames. I'm just using the 1-minute chart as my triggering chart, as my execution chart. So you've already seen one profitable trade. I want to be able to replicate that and do a little bit more, of course. But I'm going to wait patiently for the right price line, of course, at whatever time it presents. So we're headed back down towards it. Let's see if we breach it. And again, I'm looking for a breach right around here, 717, 716, and it's not presenting. Are we making a higher low? Are we going to bounce up to make a higher high? So this does, present as an opportunity. We are seeing the upper half of the 5-minute chart MSR channel being traversed. It's just a market that is still very risky. Is the counter trend bounce going to happen? I think it's cleaner above 820, 830. Somewhere in that area. And of course, we've already had data. It's in the rear view mirror now. The 830 line is effectively the champion trend sell zone trail line on that 5-minute chart. We're headed up to it, so I'm not going to argue with that. Initial breakout, not really my thing. It breaks out, it runs, it comes back tests and resumes. Sure, I could consider that as my long side entry. So I'm really, turning the screws to whether or not I want to go long here. And the market is in a low, higher low, higher low, higher high pattern. It's trended up off of the cash hours low, but it's still in a sell signal state that is now trying to convert on that 5-minute chart. So if you look at it on the 5-minute chart, you can see that we're hitting the champion trend sell zone trail line. We've breached it. Okay, we breached it. We've not evacuated all the sell signals. That's for sure. We have not. The hourly chart is still in a sell signal state, but price is now above the speed lines. We could rush up into the 29,000 low 900s at this stage in this counter trend bounce. And I'm considering jumping on this bandwagon very temporarily. And if the trade works right away, I'll stay with it. Otherwise, I won't. I'd like to see a back test of the speed lines. And then I can try a little scalpy scalp type long. So we're coming down. Let's see if we can hold that test of the fast speed line. If we come up directly above the high of the last bar, we're already slowing down in the rise. I don't like it. I really would, prefer to be able to play short in this market with the way that things are set up. But hey, we are seeing the ES above 74.60 at this stage. So it's broken above its long above line. And we've got the NQ sitting at 29,850, which is about 20 points above the long above line that I quoted. We're still dealing with a market that is in a sell signal state. Now, the daily chart's not in a sell. The daily chart's damaged its buy signal state. The 4-hour chart's still in a firm sell. It's got resistance at roughly 30,000, right? 30,000, 29,980. The hourly chart has got resistance of the champion cross sell zone at 29,905. And of course, its speed lines. And the 5-minute chart's trying to break through its sell signal state. And it's got some open air, right? Open air to where? Open air to about 900 to 980 would be the areas. And the 1-minute chart may egg me on to try to take on this long. We are coming up. If we come up above the highs, I'm going to try it. Fingers on the trigger, button is depressed. And if it doesn't work right away, I get out right away. So let's see if we can poke up above the top of the last closed 1-minute bar, really above the top of this 1-minute bar. It's not my favorite thing to do here, but I am going to try it because this may carry forward to 29,910, 980 in that area. The ideal outcome is it just plummets and turns right back down again. All right. So let's see. I'm just looking at the chats right now and just trying to get a sense of what folks are saying as well. Let's see. Folks that took on the long for the counter trend bounce, kudos to you. Amazing work. Okay. Just be very careful with the continuation of it. I'm getting closer to wanting to take it, but again, I don't plan on being in it for very long. And let's see if we got to pop up right now. I'm going to spread the chart open a little bit. So again, the 1 minute chart's my trigger chart. 5 minute chart's the one I'm trading. The 1 hour chart is my trend or backbone of the move. Okay, we're trying to come up, and I'm seeing compression in the speed lines. I'm seeing all the telltale signs that tell me don't do this. It's probably going to fizzle out, but hey, this counter trend bounce has gotten further than I had expected, and we are holding on a 5 minute chart above structures of resistance. So my finger's on the trigger, my button's depressed. I'm waiting to see if I got to pop up. I did. I'm trying it right now. I should be in the trade, and I'm going to wait to see if I get some follow through here. If it starts to implode, I have to get out of the way. I'm out of the way. I'm not interested in staying if it didn't directly go, because I'm seeing compression in the speed lines. Now it can continue. This could be that continuation of the long, and we could be headed up towards 29,900 to 980. So we've assessed that already. We've broken out above sell structures on the 5 minute chart. The 1 hour chart still in a sell signal state. The next resistance area is this red opaque zone. It's around 915. So there's range from where we are to about 915 potentially. Do I want to get me some of this very expensive trade? I might try it one more time, but it is a very dangerous area. So waiting patiently to see if I can get another opportunity. It's getting very hesitant on its way up, but I'm seeing some expansion. So I've taken on the trade again. I'm looking to see if I get direct continuation, and I'm taking about 95, 85 bucks of profit on that trade. I'm going to wait to see if I get another continuation opportunity over here. Let's see if I've got one. We're almost at round number, so I'm waiting. Round number being 29,900. So I'm going to wait here. Let's see if I've got another opportunity to grab a little scalpy scalp. As you can tell, I'm much more interested in the resumption of the bearish move. But hey, right out of the gates, we were oversold. We got an oversold bounce. The oversold bounce was sketchy for a little bit. I got a short out of it. Tried one profit on that. Lost a little bit on a first attempt long. Made a bunch back on the second attempt long. And we're still in this counter trend bounce up to the champion cross sell zone. We've just breached 900 at this stage. So at this stage, those that are riding the longs out right now, we're getting very, very far into non-oxygenated air. It's going to be harder and harder for it to breathe. The conversion to a buy signal state on a 5 minute chart is somewhat encouraging, right? We're at about 29,800, 900 right now. So it's encouraging, but I'm still not convinced that the whole day is going to turn around. The hourly chart's got a lot more work to do. Now, could we ultimately come up to about 29,980? I think ultimately we could in this move. So there may be another 70 to 80 points of potential upside from where we are right now. So in the chats, let me know how you're doing at this stage. Are things going well? Give me a lucky number 7 in the chat for those who are trading, those who are learning. Feel free to let me know where you're at in terms of your decision making. So I'll give you a moment in each of the chats to give me an understanding of where you are. And what's going on with you. I want to make sure that folks are doing well and are just having another day at the office and putting in the work to make great trades. All right. So right now we're in a spot where we're slowing down. Okay. We still have on a 1 minute chart, it's flimsy. The 1 minute chart structures are flimsy, right? It's quite flimsy over here. But we are in a buy signal state on a 1 minute chart. The 5 minute chart is in a moving into a buy signal state that might be a little bit more robust at this stage. But all of this is coming against the primary trend. The primary trend on the hourly chart, you can draw a trend line and say the trend is still intact if you want. Just to be clear on that, the trend is still intact. We might simply be coming to the trend line itself. So if I grab a high, a lower high, and drag it across the screen over here, that would be the trend formation at the end of the day. One could consider it a temporary trend because we've got one high, second lower high. The third lower high would really install, reason for it to be an official downtrend. Effectively, it would be a back test of falling resistance. And look, if price was to zoom up all the way there, before the hour ends in 4 minutes, which I doubt, obviously, but it would be around the 30,100 and change area, which is quite interesting, right? This is the area that we diagnosed earlier today, right? We said, look, if we come back up above 29,820, which is that volume point of control, we could see price sucked up towards the 30,100-ish area, right? 100 to 200 even area, this area where there's some hollowness in the volume profile histogram. And that may be what's in store for this market. I'm sure, like you, we've seen things that repeat, which we call patterns, and that's why we look at charts. And what I'm seeing right now, I have not seen the fear that should be expressed from cash hour start that really got entrenched, and all that negative energy got entrenched in the overnight session. I haven't seen any of it really expressed. We just saw some armchair athlete type sell orders out of the gates. Might be easier to see it this way. And then it reversed right back up. So right now, we may still be on path to that diagonal, right? With wealth charts, if you draw the trend line on the hourly chart, it's going to show up everywhere else as well, as it did on the 5-minute chart. And look, the move could take us up to 980. I'm not averse to trying the long. It's moving into the end of the hour, so one wants to be a little more careful, but this is a resumption long. We are starting to see that push up again. I'm going to try another attempt, but I want to be out of the way before the hour changes, because mechanically things can happen at the end of the hour that become problematic. And look, if I'm not seeing direct result up, I'm going to have to get out of the way of this trade fairly quickly. I'm waiting to see if I can get that resumption. I didn't get it, unfortunately, so I have to get out of the way. Is the opportunity to take that short, starting to form again? Are we starting to face resistance? And are we going to come back to the primary trend? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and understand that. The opportunity to try and take this trade above 914 to take it up to where? Well, ultimately, 30,100. Could that be in play? The hourly chart is, starting to see price breach into the champion cross sell zone. This is that distance that could be traversed. There is resistance of that breakout forecaster right there at 29,980. So that would probably be the first stop on a rise if it was to continue. But let's let the hour change at this stage before I take on my next trade over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip the chart right now. Let me just flip that chart real quick over here. I just got to move a couple of things around on another screen. So bear with me for a moment. I'm going to put this one up on your screen right now. Let's get that on the screen and make sure that's all good and ready to go. Bear with me for a moment. So it looks like folks are enjoying the analytics and the trading. That's good. I'm happy to hear that in the chats. That's wonderful. Now comes the question of can the next trade be taken on or not? And I'm waiting for my opportunity to do so at this stage. So I'm looking for it, and I will let you know if I'm comfortable trying anything after the hour changes, of course. I want that hour change to happen before I do anything else at this stage. Okay, so let's go. I'm just going to figure out what I'm doing here on another screen. Bear with me for a moment, and I'll be back on this with you in just a moment over here. Okay, so I think I am good to go. I'm going to put you back on the NASDAQ charts. We're going to take a look at that together in just a second here now. Pull that off your screen and grab that and put it back up. Here we go. Okay. So our change has happened. We're still trying to grind up at this stage. There's the 5-minute chart of the ES. It's trying to heat seek for that downtrend line. And if I have to work with this, I'm working with it. I'm taking on another long right now. I want to see if I can get a continuation push up. I've got one. I want to see if it can get a little further. If it breaks back down, I have to get out of the way. Not interested in staying if it breaks back down, but one can ride this if you've got the risk tolerance, right? Meaning if it starts to come down below that fast speed line right over there, that becomes problematic. That would open the door for a drop from 920, lower. So right now we're at 940, 950. We're continuing to grind up. Not my favorite, type of trading, but still, those who want to stay long, it's still a long side signal. It's not changed. The 5-minute chart and the 1-minute chart are aligned, and it's goal seeking for that downtrend formation at around 30,070-ish. And it's still grinding up at this stage. I want to see if I can withstand some risk and just get into one that just gives me a burst higher. But we've already had a big bar up. Okay, big bar up. We've seen patterns of slowdown, happen after that, kind of go sideways, dip into the zone, and then continue. 2 bars of real push after consolidation. We've had 4 already, so it's gotten a little more expansive, and I feel like I'm, leaving it on the table. I don't like this type of trading, this retrace trade, but it is here. So I'm going to see if I can get me into any of it that works. Let's see if we can get anything here and go. So I'm waiting patiently for the next opportunity. Still don't have my next one in play, just waiting. I'm seeing some great comments in the chats over here. That's amazing. Amazing. So folks are doing well. They're taking the insights and working with them. That's amazing. I'm happy to hear that, folks. All right, let's continue on over here. I'm still working the move, and I'm going to try the long above the high potentially here. I'm trying one right now. I want to see if I can get a direct move higher. I've got some, and I'm still not seeing direct follow through. Each time I try, I'm not seeing direct follow through. So I'm not in the rhythm here. So I'm going to cool my jets, and I'm going to wait for a better opportunity for myself. Now, the alternative is withstand the risk and trust the move. However, at this stage, so close to the downtrend formation, it can get slammed down so easily. It's not something that I want to necessarily be part of. Now, for those that are willing to take, broader risk, sure. I'm not saying that it's off base. However, be very careful on the way up. As you're seeing price rise at this stage, you're dealing with a market that is rising into falling resistance on the hourly time frame, on the 4-hour time frame. And those timeframes set down bigger technical tracks, which could become much more problematic. So right now, I'm waiting. I don't have anything great to say here, except for make sure that your stops are in and make sure that you take care of your positions if you are on the long side of the trade. Let's go and flip back to the 1-minute chart here. I was just taking a look at the ES as well. We're sitting at around 74.74, 74.73. The potential to rise into the falling channel, hourly chart channel for the ES is there. I'm going to just give you a quick view of that for those who are trading the ES, because I haven't really spoken a whole bunch about that. So this is the hourly chart. There's resistance. It's sitting right at the bottom of the MSR channel at around 74.89, and we're at 74.82. So we could be goal seeking to test that falling resistance. It could be the entire lower half of that MSR channel that we're trying to test before it, it heals itself back to a sell signal state overall. So I'm going to wait right now, consolidate, one more push up potentially to get up to the high. Let's see if that happens. And that might be what I'm going to try to take. It would be a resumption of this move. We've got to push up. It's trying to come up to the high. I slowed my jets down. I'm looking at it again as objectively as I can. I know that we're coming into falling resistance. I know we're coming up to test a downtrend line in terms of the setup, but I'm not seeing anything that's very, very attractive. And of course, on this counter trend bounce up, we've been counter the 1-hour chart signal. Nonetheless, it's had an incredible move. Okay. And there's a potential for a continuation up to the downtrend formation. And that's what I'm looking at. The speed lines are compressing, they're crossing, no trade yet. At one point, which could be the engagement of the downtrend, it probably will start to see all of the longs that have been taken on throughout the cash hour start and onwards. They'll start to unwind. They'll start to let go of their positions, and will probably resume a short side trading environment. And if that does happen, great. That's where I want to really come in and try to shine with some short side trades. Okay, let's see what's happening in the chats right now. For the folks that are listening in on all sides right now, I hope you're doing well. Just do a temperature check of everyone listening in right now. Let me know how things are going on your side. If you're all good, you can put in a lucky number 7 in the chat. If there's struggles or questions, you feel free to throw them in the chat, and I'll try to work with that as we move forward. We're of course going to have an official Q&A session starting at around 11 a.m. Eastern time. As of right now, while the market's trying to figure out whether or not it wants to consolidate and give us one more continuation push, which I will try to trade. I'll try to take that trade on above 30,000 and a nickel to see if I can get a move up towards 30,070s, 30,100. And we've done the work to say that can be valid. Okay, that can be valid. We did come up above that VPOC that I showed you earlier, right? That was this number right around here, the 29,820. We saw those structures break. We're well above it at this stage. Okay, so let's see if there's a resumption long here. Fine. But the pattern that I'm looking at what happened right here. I'm looking at what happened here, what happened here. This is very similar. Is it a setup for another resumption? Well, potentially. We are in a buy signal state that's a little overcooked on the 1-minute chart. We're also in a buy signal state on a 5-minute chart that's just seemingly getting going. And again, this is all a counter trend move against the 1-hour chart, which is trying to head up to that downtrend formation. So we did slow down around the 980s, right? Where that breakout forecaster was. We tested this one as well here. And that was on the 6 a.m. bar. And we've kind of slowed down. So that makes sense. Now, this is an area where it can logically resume the selling. A test of the downtrend would be perfect. And then resumption would be perfect there. But let's see. At one point, there may be a drop that happens fairly precipitously. And if that does happen, I want to be able to jump on that. Let's see. So right now, we're weakening. Okay, we're weakening. We're coming down to test some breakout forecasters on the 1-minute chart. We're coming back to test rising support on the 5-minute chart. So I don't think we've converted over to sell just yet. The hourly chart's still in the sell. There's no question about that. And, the drop zone is all the way down to the lower 29,800s. So right now, if I want to take advantage of any directional trading, I'm going to look for one more potential attempt to move back up to the trend, breaks the slow speed line below 29,890-ish. I'm probably going to be more interested in playing the short at that stage. So I'm going to wait patiently right now and see what we got. All right, looks like folks are doing well. I'm happy to see that. I see lots of folks commenting in the chat. That's amazing. Okay, so great. Thank you for participating. I do appreciate that. Okay, let's see if we've got something going here now. We're trying to break down below breakout forecasters. We're seeing some more negativity than we have in the prior patterns. But remember, we had a little dump and pump right there at 9:56 a.m. Eastern time, and then the move resumed, right? So don't want to call it done just as of yet. I want to wait to see if we actually do get a resumption long, which might be what's happening right now. And I will try it one more time to see if I can get that rush up to the trend formation. But as I'm sure you can tell, where my heart is I want to look for that, for the market to fail at falling resistance and then give me an opportunity to short again. So I've hit the long. I'm still not seeing success directly, right? I'm still seeing it, struggle, and it's struggling and struggling, and it's still struggling right now. And I have to get out of the way. I'm going to try it again above the high of the bar, potentially, but we have not yet lifted off. The resumption has not resumed, if you will, at this stage. I'm seeing the speed lines convert, so I'm trying it again one more time here. There we go. Let's see if we get a little bit more of a push above the high of the last closed 1-minute bar. There it is. There it is. Okay. All right. That will be a $400 trade, and I'm starting to make ground up. Let's see if we can get a continuation up towards the downtrend formation itself. I want to see that downtrend formation act as resistance, as it should. Now, it doesn't have to. We've generated that downtrend formation amongst the technical signals by just drawing a trend line in. right, from the high, right, connecting that high to the drop point over here, if you will. That's a diagonal that should be technically respected by the machines at a bare minimum. It's sitting at around 30,000 and about 70, 80 points in that area. And this is where it's getting hairier, right? The market slowed down. It slowed down. You saw that 5-minute pause. That's the first red bar, since 9:45 a.m. on a 5-minute chart basis for the NQ. And now we're getting that pump and dump. If we break down below 29,935, first order of business for those who are on longs, take great care of your positions at that point, right? This is the spot where there can be trouble. Okay, so I'm going to flip it back down to a 1-minute chart in a moment. What I want to make sure that folks hear from me that have played out longs is it's getting more treacherous right now. We're getting to the point where if things do not heal very quickly and we don't get that next push up imminently in the next several minutes, we can see this thing start to come down precipitously. And anything below 29,930, the risks grow for a faster drop. I'm using a 5-minute chart and the slow speed line as a guide to that. The number is 29,930. Below there, it can become a little hairy for those who are on the long side of the trade. Okay, but I haven't flipped to short yet. Last trade was a nice profitable $400-ish trade, looking at a long that could take us to the downtrend, and that might still be on top. I don't know if I'm going to try it. For those who are still holding their longs, we have not breached the danger line in the now, which would be somewhere in 29,935 range, give or take a handful of points around it. So we're still sitting in the 29,970s. We're trying to consolidate to continue up to the downtrend, but we have not had the continuation signal. And you'll notice from a pattern standpoint that we have spent more time going sideways this go around than we had over here, okay, or over here, since the open, which is right back over here, right? We had a pump, we had a dump, we had a pump up above the MSR channel. We tested the center, we bounced off of it, and we've gone up. We spent more time consolidating this go, and we have been in an up move since the open effectively. So could we see that continuation, and where would it be responsible for me to try that long? I think it would have to be above the high. I think it's the obvious at this stage. I don't want to buy the bounce off the speed lines. I want to know that we're actually able to push through that high and rush up, right? Because I'm guessing that part of this consolidation here is, shorts are starting to come in on top of price, and they could get squeezed. So I'm amenable to trying that long, but above the high, right? Above the high, which would be roughly 30,000 and 14, 15 points in that area. All right. Looks like folks are doing well. I just went back and read into the chat. Looks like folks are doing well. Okay. So we're getting closer to it, hovering over the button, getting ready for a potential long side trade. Let's see if I can get one. Buttons depressed, fingers on the trigger, not unclenching it, waiting. If we got to pop up above 30,000 and about 15 points, it's one of two options. It's a binary outcome. It's a whack-a-mole moment, and I have to get the heck out of the way right away, or it's a squeeze up that can shoot us up about 40 points fairly quickly. So my finger's on the trigger, the button's depressed. I'm waiting patiently to see if I can get above the high of the fourth last close 1 minute bar, fifth last close 1 minute bar, somewhere in there. Okay, we're rising to it. And again, I see this as a binary outcome. So I see this as a high risk trade. We know risk and reward go hand in hand, right? The idea very simply would be it pokes its hairs above, the shorts are overwhelming, more shorts pile on, downward pressure remains in play. Or we see the small amount of shorts get squeezed and it adds a little rocket fuel to the market and shoots us up. I don't want to misfire, so I'm going to back away from the button. I'm again waiting for about 30,015 points. Now, while this is in play, one should really also look at, well, what would it take to tell us that this thing is falling apart and it's back to, downtrending the market goes? I have to start at the 5-minute chart because that's my day trading chart itself. My 1-minute chart's my trigger chart. Anything below 29,960 starts to open the door to reversion back down again. 960 down to 900, 910 could become a trade. Okay, so I want to make sure I've got some preparation for that in case we don't see any further progression higher and we end up in the market that's telling us that, hey, this thing is just not going to work out. Let's wait and see if it does work out for one more push. And if it doesn't, we know that 960 is an area where things can start to get a little more hairy for longs, but we're trying to push up. I'm hovering over the button. I'm just going to wait patiently right now. Not interested in taking the trade until I've actually got something good. Okay, getting closer to it. Fingers on the trigger, buttons depressed, waiting to unclench it, and I'm taking it right there. I took it on right away. I'm not seeing the trade go green on me right away, but now it is. I want to see if I get a continuation up or a whack-a-mole down. I'd rather take a $65 loss than have it turn into $200-300. So whack-a-mole down was one option, which seemingly is what's happening right now, or squeeze right up. Could it try again? It could. Do I really want to be part of this? I've already had my kick at it. Now, if this is what the market's going to give me to work with over the next 5 minutes to 10 minutes, I may. And of course, I know what the number is now. It's effectively the high of the last closed 1-minute bar. So 30,018 points. Remember, we're in rarefied air right now. We're still in a counter trend bounce against the 1-hour chart. If we're going to continue, we're continuing to a falling resistive structure that should whack price back down, but we could come up and test it. And if we were to do it on this bar, it would be somewhere in the 30,000, high 60s, somewhere in that area, mid to high 60s. All right, still waiting patiently for the next, potential trade here. Let's see if we can get that push up and catch a ride. And remember what the other side of this is, right? Below 29,960, we could be starting to see the beginning of the pull back in the market. Okay, let's see if we've got something here above 30,000, roughly 20 points. If it pushes up again, I'm going to give it a go. It's a little skittish up there, isn't it? Backing away, don't want to misfire. Okay, so now we're looking at a 5-minute chart. All you're seeing over here is just a more consolidated view of what looks like consolidation before continuation. And it's attempting again, fingers on the trigger, buttons depressed. I'm trying it right now. I'm in. It is profit positive. Let's see if we get some continuation. There we go. And if it wants to run for the border, it is that downtrend formation. I'm going to have to probably get out of the way if it does not work, but it is working. And let's see if we get it working some more and some more. I'm going to take a little profit here at around 230 of profit, roughly. For those who are still trying this trade, it is still valid. We're trying to push up right into that downtrend formation. So I hope I've curated the move for you fairly well in terms of giving you the insight of what's happening, where it is, what could happen. We had a little whack-a-mole moment, but it didn't take out the low of that bar at 1016. And now we're getting the squeeze up. So it was a binary outcome from my perspective, and we've got the binary outcome to the downtrend formation. Now, nobody says it has to stop there. It is likely to. Okay, it is likely to. So be careful with the longs. Did anyone get that long? Let me know. Feel free to share in the chats if you did. Looks like some folks got in, already got out. Looks like some folks have got in. Looks like folks got some folks got that long. That's amazing. Happy to hear that. Just manage it very carefully at this stage. Okay. Happy to hear that, Ruth. That's amazing. All right. I'm seeing lots of great comments. Okay. That's amazing. So I'm trying to read everyone's handles on another screen over here. There's lots of names, but I'm seeing great comments come in on folks that were able to take that trade. That's amazing. So I'm happy to hear that. Okay, back to the business of where are we at? Are we in a market that supports a continuation up and a transition to, the selling is done? Well, look, we got our structure in. We understood that we're trying to come back up. We're coming back up into a downtrend formation. And, the intersection is right in and around the 30,070-ish area. Above there, we should have a plan in the case that it gets stronger to the upside, right? We should always have a plan on all sides here, right? So if there is a breach of 30,000, let's call it 70, 80 points, where is the market then potentially headed up to? There's a nexus of resistive structures right here between 30,190 all the way to 30,230, right? That would be the next logical destination. So can I say that the market's going to stop here and turn back down? I think it's got a higher probability to, right? That's simple as that. If it does not stop there after engaging with it, there may be opportunity up into this area, okay? If we start to come back down from where we are, having not even fully tagged that line, what numbers do I need to break down below? Well, prior to the last couple of 5-minute bars, we were dealing with around 29,960. I think the area would be at least the first breakout forecaster that we'd have to come down below, which would be 29,940-ish. Below there, below 29,910, we definitely have got some clear downside risk. Well, can't say definitely. Definitely, there's risk. We don't know definitely it will work and come down. So right now in stasis, no trade at this moment in time for me, at least. I see a lot of folks actively making decisions, which is amazing. Okay, it's not letting go yet. Doesn't want to make that final thrust up. Do I really want to try to take it up to the 30,060, 70, 80-ish area? I'm going to try it. If it doesn't want to quit, I'm going to see if I can join it, but not right now. That bar goes green and takes out the wick of the last closed 1-minute bar, I'll consider it. Otherwise, no trade, waiting for the erosion to set in, and then waiting for it to come down into the mid to lower 29,900s before I make any real short decisions. And agreed with that, Simon, right? When the hourly chart is so negative and most things are tugging at the market to say down, we have to respect the fact that over the next several hours from where we started, we're probably going to see a lower low. Now, we saw a lower low out of the gates, which is probably the armchair athletes, making that exit decision or sell decision right out of the gates. We didn't see follow through to the downside. We saw a counter trend bounce. Now that counter trend bounce has matured. It's perhaps getting into its old age. And if we're going to start turning, let's work with that. We know where the lines are. I'm going to go back to that 5-minute chart for a moment here. Somewhere in and around 940, below 940, I start to get much more interested in short side trades. Until that time, I have to presume that we're consolidating to try and continue up one more time. Now, it's as bitter as that might taste, that may be where we end up being. But if we come into that lower half of the 1 minute chart MSR channel, I'm going to start getting interested in shorts. I'm certainly going to be interested below the MSR channel bottom, below these support structures. But right now, no trade for me. We're kind of just wasting away, going sideways right now with a little erosion on the existing sell signal state. So waiting patiently. Okay, I'm seeing some erosion. I'm considering a short below the center of the MSR channel. I'm trying one right now. I'm in. I want to see if I get a whoosh now. A whoosh down to the bottom of the MSR channel. If we come up above the center, I have to get out of the trade. We came up above the center. I had to get out of the trade. Now, it's directly making another attempt down. I might try that again, but at this stage, I've already had my kick at that. I'm going to try it below the champion trend buy zone trail line on that 1 minute chart. That would be where I would probably have more success at trying that short. It would take me below the 930-ish area, 920-ish area. And it would be consistent with the primary trending signal. Now, the signal obviously has weakened the sell signal on the hourly chart, but it's still in the sell signal state. And we have not broken the downtrend. So if there's an opportunity for a resumption short, I want it to be clear. I don't need to be the first to the party. So I tried one right there, lost a few bucks. That's okay. I'd rather do that than sit in and dig my heels in. So right now, I'm just going to wait. It's the hands under buns trade, or also known as the hub trade at this moment. All right, so another quick temperature check of the room. How are folks, sitting and situated right now? Are folks looking for longs, looking for shorts? You feel free to put your comments into the chat, and I'm waiting patiently for my next opportunity. Okay, we're coming down to the bottom of the support structures. On a 1 minute chart, Triple S is trying to cross below. And if we're going to have a full-on exit of longs over here, let's break those structures, and then I'll try to get that short. Also note that we're coming up to the midpoint of the hour where there can be some mechanical changes. So it looks like folks are generally on the short side based on what I'm seeing in the chat, or looking for shorts at least. So feel free to comment in for the folks that are listening in everywhere. Let me know kind of which side you're on. I'm completely neutral right now. I'm going to treat this as a consolidation pattern until I know different. If it breaks down below supports right over here, lower 29,900s, okay, I'm going to start thinking short is likelier to work out and start playing in that direction. If we're consolidating and trying to come back up to the downtrend formation, I don't know if I want to play that move. We've already traversed this range, we've traversed on the way up and on the way down. So it's a well-beaten path, but we've most recently come down. So we're fighting that, and I don't want to fight that. So the story of the morning has been a deep risk-off situation that led to a counter trend bounce that is still up in the air. It's consolidating, and it may want to continue. Continuation of the counter trend bounce off the lows. Clarity of that continuation is break the downtrend formation, which is yet to happen. Okay, there we go. We got some erosion happening. The double green dots have started to transition to single blue dots, part of the triple S tool, telling us the buy signal's obviously cooled off. Let's see if I get a breakdown that I can take a little whoosh trade on. I want to see that champion trend buy zone trail line perforated, and it'll be a very quick trade if I'm able to get it. I'm trying it right away. I want to see that breach now happen. We've got enough acceleration. Let's see if that acceleration keeps accelerating. If not, smaller loss, not interested in being in it. Below that low, I will try it if it does present itself. Right now, no trade. It tested it. It breached it by a tick. Let's see if it breaches it again, because then I can get a whoosh. Breaching it again. I'm trying to get it. I want to see if I can get that whoosh. There we go. There we go. Little more, little more, little more, little more. Okay, fine. $100, no problem. Now, for those who are riding this, be very careful. It's just the beginning of a potential reversal now, where we've come down. We broke the last breakout forecast, or the second last. We're headed into probably the 870-ish area. So there can be a resumption of this little breakdown moment, and a back test of falling resistance would be useful. A lower low would be useful. And we've passed the center of the hour, so we don't have any mechanical changes to really worry about. So I'm going to wait to see if I get that opportunity. And no dice, no getting my hand off the trigger. So reversion back up after the initial bust. Now, can we get it testing falling resistance and falling back over again? If that presents itself, that could become a way to take on the trade. I'm just reading through the chat, some lively comments coming in. I want to keep focused on the matter at hand here. Now, for the ES traders, just to be as clean about it as possible, I'll just bring that up real briefly here on screen. Let's see if I can get it on screen here. Okay, we came and tested the 1 hour chart's MSR channel bottom, as we discussed, right? We were in the lower 70s at that time, 74.70, 74.75. We said we could come up and test the lower half of the MSR channel. That could be where falling resistance is met, and then we end up fracturing and starting to come down. That's effectively what has happened. The next move, that makes sense to me, where we'll have clarity for shorts, is about a dozen points lower, about the 74.65 area or below there. We start then heading back down towards the rising speed lines. All right, so just want to make sure that I, did double duty there to make sure that folks are on that are trading either or have got some insight. I'm still going to trade the NASDAQ. I'm still going to wait for the next opportunity. We're converting into a bit of a sell signal state on a 1 minute chart, but we're not yet rolled over. The 5 minute chart's still in a buy signal state that's eroding, right? And the 1 hour chart's still in itself. Nothing's changed. Bearish reversal underneath the trend formation, which is what we described as would be the likely outcome. Now I want to be able to take advantage of it. Okay, we're starting to come back down again. This resumption of the breakdown might be the opportunity. Fingers on the trigger, button is depressed. I'm waiting for a little more acceleration to the downside, i.e. below the lows of the last, low bars that you see there. I'm trying it right now. I'm in. It was profit positive. It's profit negative. I don't want it to reverse up on me too much more here. I want to see that push down hammer, hammer and hammer and hammer, and take out the low, because this should be a resumption on that move down, but I'm not seeing enough, and it cost me a couple $100, unfortunately, there. So no shorts just as of yet. It's testing it out, right? It's testing out whether or not that resumption for down can happen. And so far, no dice. It's reversed right back up. Shorts didn't work. Buyers came back in. What does this look like on a 5-minute chart? Still trapped under resistance, but coming up. I think that they're running for the border, which is the downtrend formation. I think that that's what they want to, that's what they're telling us right now. So I'm glad I got out of that very quickly. Do I want to jump into a long here? Not ready yet, right? It may present itself momentarily, because this would be considered a resumption long. Not great signaling, but it's there. And we're still in rarefied air. Not ideal. Now I'm going to go back and just center myself. Daily chart. Okay, we've opened the door for more down. We know that. Sell signal state on the 4-hour chart remains intact. That has not changed. We remain below the downtrend formation. 1-hour chart, sell signal state has been damaged a little bit, but still remains intact. Red zone, champion cross, champion trend, all still there. Triple S, all still there. 5-minute chart, buy signal state. Attempted to roll over, failed to have that rollover happen, and now resuming the up move. So I can't avoid it if it's going to resume. I have to decide whether I want to trade it. So if we take out the high of the last 1-minute bar, I don't think it's quite enough. Somewhere above 30,015 points, I'd start getting a little more interested in long, because this could be very trappy. And if folks want to jump into the chat and go long, short, flat, L, S, or F, if I get enough responses, I'll give you a little sentiment feel from what folks are saying in the chat. So you feel free to respond if you wish. If you're focused on trades, don't take your focus away. Is the resumption short coming back in? I'm hovering over the sell button. So what I'm seeing from folks by and large is flat to short. Seems to be the sentiment from folks responding in the chat. My finger's on the trigger. My button's depressed. I'm not unclenching it. I'm looking for a whoosh below the lows. About 3, 4 1-minute bars to go. Coming down to it, hammering at it, breaching it, taking the trade on the breach. Went profit positive right away. Let's see if we get a whoosh here. Should be another 10 points lower, but let's see. Not interested in being in the, I took a scratch pretty much. Not interested in being in it if it doesn't want to whoosh. So it's trying to come unglued, but it has not yet. Now, the indicator and the subchart can become very useful here if we see a cross through the center of the channel, which is happening right now. So I'm taking that as it's in motion. I'm going to have to hold on to the trade for a little bit here, but I don't want to let it get out of hand or unruly. It is profit positive. Barely, but it is. And now it's slightly out. So it's etching and etching away at it, right? This should turn into a whoosh that can give me about another dozen or 2 dozen points, but I'm not seeing, their willingness to let go. If the bar goes green on me, I have to get out of the way, right? Because this could easily be just poking down to smell out support of the rising channel on the 5-minute chart, okay? And until we're really through structures of support, like the center of the MSR channel, we might not see people give in as quickly, which is effectively what's in motion right now. So waiting for about 29,865 could be one option here. Could be. We did have a reversal. It's trying to get its bearings back up, but it's going to struggle at this stage. And I want to see that crossover of the triple S line below the center of the channel and below the blue line. That would support the down a lot more cleanly. For ES traders, we're getting closer to 74.65. We're not there yet. We're at 68. We came in and pretty much tested 66, 65 a moment ago, but it backed up off of it. We're in a similar spot on the 1-minute chart over there. I'll bring that up on screen real quick here for folks to see it as well. See if I can do that very quickly here. Okay, there we go. So what you're looking at over here effectively is the 1-minute chart of the ES. The area that I diagnosed and let you know earlier was about the 65-ish area. We've come and tested it. The NASDAQ is probably going to be what pulls us below it. And it's trying right now. So let's see if I can get another trade on below that low. I'm going to see if I can get another attempt on. We're starting to breach again, seeing the triple S line come down. I want to see it breach the blue line because we've already started this pattern, right? We've got a high, we've got, call it a low, we've got a lower high, we've got a low, but then we came up and we made a slightly higher high or equivalent high. So it's mixed, but we did come down and breach the last low area. So it's eroding, but it's not clean yet. Yeah, about 850, 865 can probably make more sense on the short side. And we are in a sell signal state now on a 1-minute chart, right? So that has actually happened. The 5-minute chart's not there yet. So it's a mixed signal state, right? The hourly chart's in a sell, all right? We're getting that reversal wick. 5-minute chart's in a buy that's eroding, okay? But it's coming in to test rising support. And then that 1-minute chart is in a spot where it's converted to a sell, but it's not full throttle. So this mixed state makes for lower quality trades. No interest in taking it. Just reviewing what's going on in the chats here while we're waiting for the next move in this market. And I want to see if the next move in this market can give us some clarity. There we go. I'm in. I'm taking the trade. I'm looking for that down to continue now. We've got some more aggression. We've got the signaling in place, some profit positivity. I want to see if I can get a little more out of this. Or is it going to be the same movie that we saw the last few bars? There we go. Let's see, we got a bigger one going here. I'm still not seeing it unclench. I've got the right crossover behavior in the subchart indications. The trade's profit positive. But this should be a whoosh likely, not certainly. 65 is the next break line that really matters, right? And we're not coming down to it. And I don't want to be caught in that same, reversion back up to test falling resistance. It's sniffing out the low. And if it breaches 65, I'm going to try it. 70 to 65, I'll try it. Otherwise, no. This slow erosion is not what I want. I want to see a whoosh down, and we're not getting it. And it's had many attempts, right? The more it attempts, the more it chips away at the floor. Fingers on the trigger, buttons depressed, in it. Not effective yet. Not effective yet, but it's still chipping away. It's made the lower low, right? So now comes the opportunity for whoosh. There we go. Okay. Nope. The battle is still being won by those that want to try to keep this market back up. And it is that, center of the MSR channel on the 5-minute chart that we're struggling with here, which is around the 860-ish area, right? Below that 860-ish area, then you've got the opportunity for down. Now, as we move towards the end of the hour, Eurozone traders are going to get off the tape. We're going to probably end up seeing, folks try to gauge what's going to happen into the end of the hour. I'm taking the short side trade below 860, 865. I don't have high hopes for it, but it is profit positive quite decently. I want to see if we can get more out of it. It's like a slow motion erosion. Shorts don't have as much patience. Shorts should be real. Fear should be quick. It should be severe, and results should be quick. I'm taking my profit of about 230 on that bar as I started to see a little green emerge, but we are still eroding away right now. We are probably going to see the bottom of the 5-minute chart MSR channel tested, which is 827. Breach of that 827 marker opens the door down to 800. 800, let's see what the hourly chart says about that. The speed lines right now are intersecting at 837. We're trying to come down below it. Okay, so short side thesis can start to make a lot more sense in slow motion, which is not normal. The hard part is it can whipsaw at any time here. So one wants to be careful with their shorts. I'm getting some incremental sell signals, so I'm willing to try another little entry in, but I do need to see it, directly perform, waiting patiently for it right now, alongside many of you, I'm sure. Don't like that green-bodied bar. Don't like that green-bodied bar, that's for sure. But it tested the speed line. It stayed below it. So I'm willing to keep working with it. But if it breaches that fast speed line, I got to get out of the way. So I'm waiting right now patiently to see if I get that next opportunity, or are we going to come back up to try and test some of the breakout forecasters up ahead, some of the falling resistance? So I'm not interested in staying if we breach that fast speed line. So as soon as that happens, the opportunity for it to revert back up increases. I can only resume the trade below the low. And the ES is dangling right at that spot, right at that 74.65 area. So what happens into the end of the hour is going to, this window between about 10:47 to 10:53 a.m. Eastern time, it's a window that we can kind of diagnose to help us forecast what happens into the end of the hour. If we end up seeing against the markets, overall positioning is short, but that's on a basis of hours. On a basis of minutes to an hour, it's slightly north of neutral to the long side. If we don't end up seeing rises happen during this period of time, we're probably going to see post 1053, post 1054, this thing fall over. Right now, from 1047, we are seeing a little bit more rise. So that can keep those that are in the position and try to milk it until they have to get off the tape at 11 a.m. Just another additional insight there for those listening in. So right now, no shorts, right? We're trying to come right back up. I called out, the opportunity for the short, took it, saw the reversion up, got off of that bar when it started breaking the speed lines. And now we're sitting above the slow speed line, trying to revert back up. So no trade. No trade on the long side, no trade on the short side for me just yet. Could this just be a bear flag that unravels? Potentially. We are starting to trend down now. So I like the idea of, taking a short if it falls below the low, but working with it and staying with it is troublesome at this stage, especially into the end of the hour. Now, how are folks doing overall? I'm just going to do a temperature check right now into the end of the hour. Let me know. So you can let me know, results, short, long, flat, however you want. Feel free to comment in the chat and share with me, and I'll probably give you a little sentiment view on that as we move into the end of the hour. Looks like folks are doing fairly well. That's amazing. I see lots of folks out there saying I'm flattening things out right now, which makes good sense. Okay, so clearly the down doesn't want to happen. Clearly the market wants to try to come back up and test falling resistance. I'm not going to take part of a long side trade at this moment in time, but this could be a run for the border still, right? So there may be opportunity here. Risks have gone up as we move into the end of the hour for me to do this. So I'm certainly not going to take that on as we rise into falling resistance. I think that we are probably going to end up over the next several hours seeing another attempt at coming back down. The only thing that will really change my mind on that is if we break that downtrend formation, which we drew primarily off the hourly chart, and that downtrend line is sitting, if we are to rise above it right now, obviously, that's less likely, but that would be at the 30,080-ish area. Above the 30,080-ish area, it opens up more room. I think this is a false positive attempt to try and get up there. I would like to try to squeeze out one more trade on this market morning, but I'm considering very carefully whether or not I want to do it. And some good comments in the chat right now. And Ruth Ann, yes, the answer to your question there is yes. Okay, here we go. Erosion, bearish cross imminent on the triple S on the 1 minute chart, falling into rising support, flattening out support here below the center of the MSR channel, about 863 on the 5 minute chart. We get into the fly trap half, the lower half of the MSR channel. That could become amenable to shorts. We're headed there right now. Finger is hovering over the sell button. Button's depressed. 863 just got hit, got breached. I took the trade, saw some profit positivity right away. Want to see a direct breakdown. I didn't, unfortunately, and that account got busted, unfortunately. And hey, that happens. That happens. Okay, so right now I want to focus in on the next trading opportunity. Bear with me for a moment. I'm going to just take you to the ES chart right now. The ES chart is going to pop up on your screen. So bear with me for a moment while I just reorganize right now. Just take a moment to figure that out. Don't know if you've got a chart on screen yet, but it should show up in just a moment. Okay, it should show up right now on your screen. So we're still oscillating with oscillating signals. It's not clean. The attempt to continue to erode down is there. There's no question about that. It is there. Okay, we are at about 836, and I'm seeing that erosion continue. The ES is a few points below its line. So there is an opportunity again for another short here. It is getting close to the end of the hour. If I see acceleration to the downside, I will consider it. And I'm backing away. It's just slowed down on the downside so dramatically that it makes it a little more challenging. I'll flip to the ES for a second here so we can take a quick look-see at that and see if it's acting as a ballast. I think it is. So we're in the last 5 minutes of the hour. This is where the market is now going to, give us some sort of directional move into the end of the hour. Dumping the existing longs would be the likely outcome. And if I see that down happen, I'm going to try to capitalize on it. Trying and waiting. Want to see a bigger whoosh if I can get it. Don't like the backing up that I'm seeing over here. Don't like that, but I'm still willing to work with it as we are on a down bar. Let's see if we test that and breach. Don't like it. Breach and back up. No, unfortunately, it did not work for me on that trade, but that is the way that cookie is crumbling. A harder trading morning for me today, but not going to let it phase me. Going to get back on that horse a little later on in the day, of course, again, and continue working at it. I am seeing enough erosion on the ES right now below the 74.65 area to say the door for a full reversion back down is in play. So if we go back to the hourly chart on the NQ, where we kind of started our journey, right? We're coming back down to the speed lines, which we bounced up off of earlier. We pushed right through them. Used them as a springboard, came to the downtrend formation, faced it as resistance, weren't able to get above it. And now we're coming back down to those speed lines with the potential to breach and then unravel again. The hourly chart tends to forecast out 3 to 6 hours. And if you take a look at volumes on the way up, they're matched with the on the way down. That's histograms that are faded in the background over here. So what I'm seeing at this stage is enough to convince me that the primary signal is still intact. That primary signal off the hourly chart is still intact. We're still likely going to erode, and we're getting very close now to losing, any buy signal state support on that 5-minute chart. As you get close to the end of the hour, you want to be more careful as mechanical changes can happen, because what's happening right now is the unwind of any remaining longs, but they have not unwound to the point where we're coming down to lower lows for the session, right? We've retraced half of it. We've gone from lows down in the 29,620-ish, 610 area, all the way up to the 30,050 area, and we've come pretty much halfway back. So this is a good balance area to let the market tell us what it wants to do. And we've got indications here where the lower bound of support on the 5-minute chart is sitting at 29,780. Below there, downside risk is likely. And for the ES, similarly, below about 74.60, 74.59, the downside risk should remain intact, and we should be able to see, more acceleration to the downside. So let's see how the market wants to play it out into the end of the hour. Right before the hour changes, though, I'd want to get flat, because we could see mechanical changes shifting things around and, turning things into a little counter trend moment against this now new down. So I'm hopeful that folks were able to make it out alive this market morning. It was a tougher trading morning for me versus yesterday, but it doesn't mean it has to be the way it works for the rest of the day. Follow the signals. Of course, making decisions with the signals at the righter price break moments will make sense. And what I want to do is kind of encapsulate that for you by going back to the hourly chart and going, hey, we are at a juncture that's important. Obviously, there's the low of this bar, around 29,800. Below that low, the door does open for us to try and retrace the rest of the move back down towards the lows of the session or lower. Right? We still have the same sell signals largely in place. We've come up, broken a few of the breakout forecasters, tested the last several of them, come up to a downtrend formation, reverse back down below it. We're coming back down below the speed lines. Sure, oversold is the case that we're in. You can see that from the SSS indicator in the subchart. We have not successfully seen that red line on the SSS tool on the hourly chart get back into the channel. We have not seen the champion trend pack flip from a sell signal state to a even significantly weakened sell signal state on that hourly chart. It is still in a pervasive sell signal state. Now the hour is crossed, And we've got some time together now to evaluate the lessons of the market morning and, of course, get questions answered. I'm going to take a brief pause over here. Just take a little brief pause for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to be back on track in just about a few minutes. So hang tight, folks. Folks can get their little bio break in or grab their beverage, and I'll be right back with you very shortly. All right, folks, I am back here with you. Just give me a quick good to go in the chats. Let me know that you can hear me and see me, and let's continue on over here. Okay, so a bit of a tougher morning for me because I think I dug my heels in on the 1 hour chart being in such a pervasive sell signal state. To the point of drawing the downtrend in. Okay, the insight was correct that we're likely going to come back down again. That is the case. We are trying to come back down again right now. We're below these speed lines. We're obviously below the downtrend formation that we drew. Now, we did have a counter trend bounce shortly after the open that took us up to the downtrend. And now we are reversing back down to try and come down and break any of the remaining support structures on a 5-minute chart sitting down around 29,800. And we know that this is an important area. We did the work a little earlier in the session over here where I'm going to pop this up on the screen, and I'm seeing some comments on, the voice might be lagging. I hope it heals itself right now. But I'm seeing many folks say it's all good to go. So focus on the screen and we should be good. Okay. Looks like it's good to go for the folks who are writing in. So I appreciate it by and large. Okay. Looks like folks are good to go. Okay. So here we go. When we take a look at where we're sitting right now, Okay, we're at that volume point of control that started back at the beginning of May the 6th for the NQ. I'll make that full screen so you get a little more real estate. And we said before the open, look, if we are able to come back up above 29,820, we could get sucked all the way up into the 30,100-ish area. We got pretty darn close to that, and it reversed back down. You can see it a little more cleanly on the 5-minute chart. Right, we came back above that volume point of control around the 29,820-ish area. We got sucked up almost to the 30,100 area, and then we're starting to come back down again as we see as it sits right now. And we're trying to breach that important volume point of control level, which can open the door for a full retrace back down. So for those who are trading actively right now, it is a short side bias day that started off in the morning with a counter trend bounce and now is resuming the primary trend on that 1-hour chart. And the primary trend is down. So from the NASDAQ E-mini standpoint, where is the market headed? So what I want to do is I want to back it up a little further over here, go back to that daily chart and look at what we're potentially coming down to. So we discussed a target on the downside. The target on the downside would be the center of the MSR channel, moving support and resistance channel, those 3 lines right there. So that would be at around 29,430, 435 area. It would be in that territory right around there that we can not speculate, we can actually project that if we are below the top lip of the MSR channel, which we're headed back down to, right? We're trying to retrace back down. We come back down below about 29,750, 740. It opens the door down to 29,000, lower 400s. So that entire range would be potentially up for grabs on the short side. Okay, now when is it appropriate? Well, the lead market to the downside is still the NASDAQ. Okay, so it's still the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ is breaching, structures of support on the 5-minute chart right now. It's in a sell signal state on a 1-minute chart, starting to move into a sell signal state on a 5-minute chart, and it stays in its sell signal on the hourly chart. Okay, so at this stage, below 820, we've already seen about 30, 40-ish points of erosion. Actually, a little bit more than that, right? About 50, 60 points of erosion to the low of that bar. So it's just starting to breach right now. And obviously, we've had lots of red bars in a row. We don't have as much volume in the market at this point. I'm going to be looking for, on my 5-minute chart, I'm going to be looking for one of these red triangles to show up above a 5-minute bar before I start shorting the market again. But right now, we're just doing a review of where things are at, where they're likely headed, and I'm going to be answering questions. So by the way, feel free to throw your questions into the chat. If I didn't mention that already, that's the section of the morning session that we're in right now. So between 11 and 11:30, I'm going to be doing Q&A and just the lessons learned. So I dug my heels in and I wasn't able to participate enough on the long. The short side of the trade came in, but it came in very tepidly. It didn't come in the traditional whoosh. You can see the tails on the candles. Now we're starting to break below support structures on the 5-minute chart. We're starting to align now on the 3 time frames that matter the most here. The 1-hour chart, which is the boss, right? The 1-hour chart's the boss. It's in a sell signal state. It projects out 3 to 6 hours. The 5-minute chart is starting to convert into a sell signal state. And the 1-minute chart's the leading of the bleeding edge. It's already there, right? We've already got the double red dots. We've already had the red triangle present. We're already below the champion cross sell zone. So at this stage, I'm waiting for that 5-minute chart to line up and give me permission for the rest of the move back down, assuming the market wants to give it to us, right? That's that's an if. It's a likely outcome, but it's an if. Now let's do this on the ES side as well here for you. Let's see if I can do that fairly quickly on the ES side here. So I know this is in light mode, so sorry to hurt your eyes over here. I'll get that converted over for the next time we meet, of course. So we're in a sell signal state. We're obviously well below the 74.65 area. And effectively what we're trying to come back down towards is obviously the lows of the session. We're almost through the halfway marker. We're pretty much at that marker right now, below roughly 74.50 flat. Which were just a couple of points above, below roughly 74.50 flat. the door does open for a move that can take us all the way back down towards those lows. Now, we've had a kick up. We're at the halfway marker. The ES is not really acting as enough of a ballast, to pick up slack from the NQ. It could start. This is not the right day part for it, though. My real thrust of comment here is we're in a sell signal state that is likely going to line up all the way back up to that 1 hour chart, and the door opens for a drop that retraces us all the way back. It might be in slow motion. Okay, but the short side of the trade makes a lot more sense below 74.50, 74.45 in that area, for a retrace all the way back down, potentially to lower lows. Okay, so now I'm going to do this with more plain clothes charts here for you. So let's pull that up here for you. We were looking at the ES, so might as well just start there. So let me just grab my ES charts on the daily and the 5 minute there. So that volume point of control line, 74.72, which we were above briefly. We're back below it right now. We're fighting against that weekly pivot level right here at around the 74.50 area. Below it, it opens up risk down to lower lows and down to the 73.90s. That would be effectively the projected area that we could say it can come down to. Now, that's an if. Right? We need to see if market price action sustains below the 74.50 area to support a continuation down. The 5 minute chart might give us a little more granularity, and that granularity is just going to reinforce really what we've already discussed. We've come halfway back. We're kind of at a support structure from the little highs that you can see over here that happened in the wee hours of the morning, and we're holding. We need to breach that, get below that 74.50 area for continuation lower. Right now, it's holding above there. And the NASDAQ should be looked at as the lead market in any of the cases over here. The NASDAQ should be looked at as the lead market to help you with choices on direction overall. And what I'm looking for on the NASDAQ is for it to lead on that 5 minute chart and move into a sell signal state, seeing a breach of that blue line right over there, the red line coming down below the blue line, moving from the fourth quadrant to the third quadrant of this 4 quadrant channel, and giving me clarity that, yeah, downside risk is here to stay. So I think overall, we have more risk on the day to retrace back down to the lows that we've seen shortly after the open, the cash open, or lower. I think the risk is still leaning there. Signals are aligned for that. But to trade it, we need to see lower than 74.50 on the ES, and on the NQ, specifically something below around the 29,750-ish area. Below there, it's going to be fairly clear that we are in an entrenched sell signal state that is aligned. So I hope that makes some sense. Okay, so I'm going to just go take a look at the chat now and see if there are questions that I can answer. If I've missed any questions, feel free to re-enter those questions right now. But I'm starting to scroll through the chat. So bear with me while I just read through the chat. And of course, this is your time to pick my mind on tools, strategies, tactics, overall, now that we've done a review and a projection of where things are going to go. All right, let's see. So it looks like folks did well from comments that I'm hearing in the chat, which is amazing. Let's see if there are questions that I can answer. I know there was a few in there. Stephen E. asked, what is the number that the ES daily chart has to hit to get red, the red dot on the chart? So you're looking for effectively, see if I can move this in. So effectively, we would have to be below the center of the MSR channel, 74.28, 74.30, somewhere in that territory. That would really open the door for more downside risk. So that's the answer to that question. And you'd probably get a double red dots at that spot. Let's see if I can scroll through the chat and get any further questions answered here. I'm going to put it back to the NQ because I'm waiting for that moment as well for a potential trade for myself. If I see that the slow motion erosion turn into a little bit of a faster ride and a breach below, that red line breaches below that blue line, I've got a trade on that I can work with. And Jim B, the answer to your question is yes, I will be there. Speed lines are Howard. That's Rob's secret sauce. That's his thing. It's part of Wealth Chart, so you can toggle on your speed lines. They're set at the default. There's no real adjustment to the settings. So I'll leave that answer to the question as that. And then Jason H, you asked about what's the white line on the NQ chart. That white line that I have drawn on is superimposed. Once I drew it in on the hourly chart, it's a downtrend formation that we drew in earlier in the session from highs that were made over here yesterday at the 10 a.m. hourly bar, connecting with highs right there at the 6 p.m. hourly bar, and again connecting with highs at the 9 p.m. hourly bar last night. It is the downtrend formation that we approached. We were not able to engage with it perfectly. We got in the vicinity. We didn't breach it or break it, and we've returned to a sell signal state, pretty much across the board now. The 5-minute chart is just getting entrenched in its sell signal. It's not fully let go just yet, but that's what that downtrend, that's what that white line was or is on the screen. Let me see if I can answer any further questions. So I'm looking through all the chats right now. For folks who have questions, feel free to throw that in there. And Arashi, I do not use that service. I strictly focus on Wealth Charts. It's got everything I need in there. So that's the answer to your question. And I'm looking through all the chats. So just give me a moment here to see if I can grab any other questions that I can answer. So I'm just waiting here, folks. I don't have another question that came in the other chat. So I'm looking at a new question, couple of questions that have come in. So Jim G, you're asking Z, how to get the MSR channel line to change colors. So instead of using the MSR channel, use the technical damage tool. It's the same 3 lines, right? So I'm just going to highlight it right there. It's the same 3 lines. So when you go in to add indicators on Wealth Charts, just type in, you can simply right click on the screen, go to add indicators, and you can type in technical damage. You might see my little guy running across behind me. He's home today. So let me just see if I've got this right here. So there you go. You just saw my 14, almost 15-year-old run through the background, photobombing the session. Okay, so technical damage tool would be the one that you're looking for there. And that is effectively, the answer to your question there. And that'll pop on the channel with the color changes. So what are the color changes? From green to magenta, you're seeing technical damage. Okay, green is everything is moving in the direction of the trend of the slope of the lines. When it starts to go magenta, you're dealing with a situation where technical signals are a little less effective. But we're starting to see a little bit more breaching action happen here. And I'm considering taking one last trade, even though we're in the Q&A section. Emad, I might be able to ask him to come in and join in there. Let's see. And Norm H, you still do have that access. That hasn't changed. We're just kind of grouping everything together here today. So just follow the login links and you should be fine. You should be getting an emailer in the morning with that login link. And Derek C, I have not. Okay, I'm starting to see some breaching action right now. I'm trying a quick short side entry. Looks like it's profit positive. Let's see if we can keep it that way. If the bar goes green and starts to pop up, I have to get out of the way. I'd rather take a $50 loss rather than 100 or 200. If it resumes to red and we end up seeing, the bar go red again, take out the low, I might actually try that trade one more time. But we've seen this story before, right? We've seen the story of the day. It takes you right to the edge, and then we get a reversal. And fairly sizable, right? From 29,770 down to about 29,740. But there should be a little more here. So I'm trying it one more time. I want to see if I can get a whoosh now on the heels of that bearish wick that we've got on the candle. fingers on the trigger to get out if it doesn't continue down, and I'm not willing to stay, right? If we get a clear bearish reversal, we get one. If we don't, we don't. We are getting the beginnings of the breach of the line, right? The beginnings of the breach, right? That down triangle is still not above price. Now, we're getting close to the end of our time together over here. I want to make sure that I take care of you and I answer the questions that you have in. So let's see if we've got questions. So I'm waiting to see what's popping through the chat over here. So bear with me for a moment while I look through the chat. So I see some request for gold analysis. I'm happy to do that real quick. So let me pop that up on your screen. So one of the things that folks have to keep in mind over here is that you're in a marketplace that has not fully unraveled, on a day-over-day basis, right? We've already been at lower lows. Let's just anchor this insight on gold to the ES for a second here. If we've got a market that's coming down below lows that we saw back around June the 11th, you've got the dollar skyrocketing. You've got things becoming more unruly. We've had some pangs that look similar to what we had back on June the 5th happen today, but we have not seen it be unruly, right? We even have that counter trend bounce up after the open. Erosion on the way down has been, not whoosh-like, not very aggressive. And we have not come down and made a lower low just as of yet. If the market was to come down and truly become like a June 5th day, gold and silver would probably be headed a lot lower and the dollar would be headed a lot higher. And the reason I'm talking about these things with your request on gold analysis is currencies and rates and the forward-looking move on equities are all intertwined in how gold tends to move. Gold also is a store of fear premium. So what I'm going to say simply right now is I think the euro is deeply oversold. It's due for a bounce. I doubt that we're going to see that bounce happen well today. Gold has not come down and made a lower low. So I'm going to just scroll over to my GC chart right now so you can look at that. It's not come down and made a lower low versus the lows that we saw back over here on the 11th, okay, where we saw lows for the market as well. So at this stage, I would not be hunting for longs until I know that we're above a water line that spells out, okay, we've got some footing. And that would be literally where that volume point of control line is sitting right around that 4230 to 4240 area. I'm going to just spread the chart out a little bit over here so you can get a good sense of that. So right in and around here, around the 4230 to 4250 area, it would be this territory that I'd be looking at for the gold market to be healing itself a little bit more and coming back up. I hope that makes some sense. Now that's more on the swing basis. If we're looking at day trading basis for gold, it's a bit of a different story. From a day trading basis, we are in a pattern that is an oddly shaped uptrend from roughly 4 a.m. Eastern time Eurozone open. We had some consolidation. We technically made a higher low and a higher high, right? So from a day trading standpoint, at this stage, with the market being more risk off, signal down, anything that takes us back down below 41.39, 39 and a half. I'd be more interested in short down to 37 or lower. If we do happen to get back up above 41.53, perhaps we move into a range and we could look at a rise that can take us up into the 41.60s or higher potentially. So I'll leave that there for the request on gold. And I think that we're getting very close to the end of our time. So I'm still going to focus in on the chat and make sure that I get your questions answered. For those that are asking questions, bear with me for a moment while I just review the chat one more time here. All right. I'm not seeing any further questions. If I've missed something, feel free to throw it into the chat. So I see a couple of questions coming in right now. So Suraj is asking, how do we get your layouts? So if you want to get these layouts directly off of wealth charts, they're actually hard coded in on wealth charts. You can simply move over to the hamburger menu. And let me make this full screen so you get a little more real estate there. You can go to the hamburger menu on wealth charts. You can go to where it says layouts. You can scroll down to where it says premium. Okay. And then you can scroll down and find my name with the associated layouts right over here. And it will probably be this layout that will be the most helpful. If you own the Triple S indicator and others, you can use the alternative twos. If there's a specific layout that is really important to you, feel free to take a screen cap of it and send it into support@wealthcharts.com, and I'll make sure to get a layout code for that ready for you for the next time we meet. So I think that we're coming into the end of our time. I see AR, you're asking about hotkeys. I don't use hotkeys. I don't use hotkeys. All right. I do everything pretty much manually over here. Looks like we are in a decent spot. I hope folks are doing well. I hope that you had a decent morning overall. I had a tougher morning overall, but I'm going to be getting back on the horse on the short side trade. We are seeing that 5-minute chart with the red triangle now, right? We're seeing that breach happen, so it can open the door for a full retrace back down towards the low, okay, that we saw on the first 5-minute bar, and or potentially lower. If we see price action on the NQ, shortly after I leave you here, get back up above 29,830, 820. In that territory, we're back above that volume point of control line again, going back to the earlier part of May. So it's a very important, water line overall in the market. And I want to make sure that that's, really well ingrained in your mind, because it really is the controlling line, if you will, price line for direction. Above 29,820-ish, the door does open for more and more, potential retrace back up, while we remain below 29,820, a retrace back down to the low and or lower down in towards the 29,000 lower 500s is on the table. Folks, I hope you had a great morning. I'm going to get back on the horse here with you tomorrow in this format. So we're going to do that again tomorrow morning, starting at 9:15. 9:15 to 9:30, we'll do our pre-market briefing. We'll get a good sense of the tone of the market, the things that are tugging at the market, the technical setups, 4 trades. Then we'll move into live fire from 9:30 a.m. to about 11 a.m. We'll take a brief pause for a quick bio break around 11, and then we'll move into the Q&A and trade review overall. Folks, I hope that you had a great day, and I'm looking forward to more great days with you in this format. And I wish you all a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe out there, make decisions that you're comfortable with, that your risk can tolerate, and we live to fight another day. Have a wonderful rest of your day, folks. I thank you for being here, taking the time to engage, ask questions, participate in the questions that I asked during the session. It does mean a lot, and I hope that you've enjoyed your experience yet again in this format today. All right, folks. Bye for now, everyone, and we'll see you in the next session starting at 9:15 tomorrow. I will be doing other sessions at later on in the day for those who are linked into that stuff. But we'll talk about that at the right time. Folks, have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for taking the time to be here. Bye for now, everyone.